A criminal for a long time, and you're a criminal in the media for not reporting it.
That's treason. That's treason.
If you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our First Lady.
That's treason. That's treason.
And we've caught them. We've caught them all. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all.
But should she lose, we'll have an insurance policy and we'll get this guy out of office. And that's what they said and that's what they meant. That's treason. That's treason. They say, holy shit, they caught us. They caught us.
What's going, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
And welcome everybody. Happy Thursday, March 26, 2026. Welcome back to NewsTreason Channel 17 and TrueStream. And I am very, very pleased tonight to have with us two of my good friends, two gentlemen that I started watching long before I ever stepped behind the microphone. Joe and Scott from TrueStream. Gentlemen, happy Thursday. How are you?
Happy Thursday. Great to be here. I love that opener. Stirring.
Absolutely. And I'm just so glad we could put this together this quickly because, you know, the iron's hot and, we just did Bread Fest and we're going to be introducing an amazing dear friend of ours that was on the NBNO cruise with LT. And I just thought, if we can bring the synergy of these two events together and give some insight to people, and these happened at the same time. I couldn't think of a better person than this guy as we get to that point. But yeah, I'm excited to have this show with you guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was so good seeing you guys. It's so funny. I remember I walked up to you and I was like, I haven't seen you guys in like 2 years. And then I realized, no, we had actually never met in person before. I feel like we met in person. But it really was great to spend time with you guys. And yeah, before we bring this gentleman on, and actually Mickey Coachella is going to be joining us for a little bit as well as soon as he's available. Guys, just give me your feedback on the event this weekend, kind of what you experienced, the importance of it, I think, of getting everyone together. Just any thoughts you have on it now that it's fresh on your minds.
Scott, please go ahead.
Man, well, I feel completely invigorated by it. It's amazing. We do this all the time, via the internet, but when you get in person, there's a dynamic there. It's hard to describe. But I walked away from that completely invigorated. I'm so fired up. I just spent the morning with some folks associated with the VITA here in this area that they're ending medical tyranny. Talk about the cure for cancer. It's amazing what these people are doing. And I've been to a few of these and met some amazing people. We're going to do a bunch of shows about it, but today I got to meet Lou, who's billionaire behind it. And it brought tears to my eyes. It's really intense. So I've had a heck of a day. Being at that event and seeing how everyone bonded and people from all over the country or the world coming together and being in the physical, there's just nothing like it. So many people feel so isolated in their lives, and I encourage all of you to get out and get to an event, because it does. There's a whole different dynamic. We often forget our lives are on the internet, and it just made it all that much more real. We're in such amazing times. The world is changing.
Joe?
Beautiful. Well, the synchronicities, just like, we had Dr. Jan on our show for the third time. And before she started the show, she mentioned to Scott and I just the profound effect that the round table with you and Rambo and True Stormy Joe and a few of the other Anons out there. And to have that really turn into her being at the event and her bringing her little dog Cody, which Rambo was talking about earlier. She actually, I'll just share this. She took a look at Gigi, my mom's dog, and says, "Does Gigi want pup? Does your mom want puppies?" So even that might be in the works now. But but to have Dr. Jan there, you know, and like Dave said earlier on the show with Rambo, that there's some really amazing things happening behind the scenes, and for that to happen, and you know, for Flynn to drop out, and then the community to rally and say, hey, it's still going to be an amazing event with or without Flynn, and then Dr. Jan kind of coming in and not necessarily replacing General Flynn, but having more of a national type figure that's recognized in that at that level, I suppose. Be there. It was incredible. And just like I was telling Dave, the sun is a little bit behind me. I'll shift this a little bit, but I spent so much time with either our dear friends that we were at our table or folks coming up to us that, you know, Dave and I didn't have a lot of time to hang out, and there's some events in the works, I think, for that. But just to give people a moment to share their stories with us is beautiful, because they get to hear about us, but I want to hear about the people that are willing to come to an event like that and that feel safe enough. Because, you know, I mean, I think everything's good now, but there's times where you're wondering, is this a really good idea to go somewhere where you're publicly saying, I'm going to go to this event and there's hundreds of people there. And, you know, I'm just glad it went as smooth as it did. Let's put it that way. So it was incredible.
Yeah. You know, I know it may sound cliche at this point to the audience because they've heard a lot of us talking about it all week, but I find it difficult at times to put into words what it's like to be on the receiving end of that amount of love. Like you said, Scott, you know, we're used to just sitting here looking at each other through a box, and yeah, sure, you can look at the numbers of people watching and things like that. But, you know, when you have people coming up to you, and none of us expected to ever be doing this kind of stuff in our lives. And when you have somebody coming up to you, you know, people on the verge of tears, just, you know, thanking you for what you do. In fact, by the end of the weekend, people kept coming up to you like, I know you're not comfortable with this, but I have to thank you, you know, because it's like you almost have that deer in headlights type of look. And, you know, I'm sitting here looking at it saying, well, you know, it's us that should be thanking all you guys. It's you guys and the love that you give. That's what keeps us all going. It really is amazing. And Joe, to your point about events like this, yeah, you know, I think we all forget that, you know, you mentioned General Flynn. A lot of the reason they were doing those Reawaken tours at a certain point out in the middle of a field in a tent is because they couldn't get a venue that would allow them to do it, you know? And here we are now at a Hilton, which is, you know, big company, big corporate conglomerate. And there we are. And actually one of my favorite stories was we were kind of in that backstage area. I think it was like on Saturday night. And it was, I think it was me, Rambo, and Kate, and we were sitting there doing interviews with people. And obviously we had the film crew that Patrick hired that was there. And when we got done and he kind of wrapped everything up, Joe looked at him and he said, listen, you've been sitting here for 3 days, you know, listening to all of us. He goes, I just got to know, like, I'm just curious, like, what do you think about all this? And I kind of wait to see what he says. And he looked at us and he goes, I think there's a whole lot of things I need to learn about the world.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's very interesting because, you know, it's, we're all so used to being called crazy and everything else. And I think that type of thing just kind of sums up the difference in the world we sit in today here in 2026 compared to even a couple of years ago.
Right.
You know, I speak about it all the time. I try to bring that to the audience, like all my experiences of just being out and about and talking to people and seeing how much of a change there's been in society. So to hear things like that versus, you know, hey, you're all a bunch of nut jobs, a big change from where we were a few years ago.
So true. I mean, whether it's film crews, which we've talked to many, you know, and those are hired guns, or like wait staff at these events. I was at a Leonardo Joni comedy night, and we were kind of asking the cocktail waitresses what they thought of the whole thing. It was rather inflammatory, but it's actually kind of surprising. Just how much people are grateful to see another side of things that they don't get to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me bring in. I'm going to bring in Mickey real quick before we get to Lance, since he's looks like he's about ready here, because everyone knows who this gentleman is. Mickey Coachella, what's up, brother? How are you?
Good, man.
Hey.
I'm sitting outside. Hey, everybody. I'm sitting outside the club, the comedy club. And Dave asked me to come on. So I'm like, heck yeah, I'm coming on. So sorry, I'm in the car, man, and not in the studio, but thank you for having me.
Of course, brother. Of course. We were kind of just talking about the event. I know it's been top of mind all week, and I know a lot of people have heard from you already, but just kind of give me your thoughts. A few days out. What did you think of the whole thing?
Man, I just think of the whole thing from like an experience. If I think about it as an experience, if I was being involved, as being involved in it, it was incredible to feel that kind of appreciation and feel that kind of connection to people, to be also like-minded and to be also interested in the same sort of results is really inspiring. And I can honestly, I've always had this ability to look at it from their point of view as well. And I thought it was like an amazing time for everybody. And I thought all of us just were so fortunate to be around it. And I think that we all received it very well. And I do think like we gave them back the amount of love that they show us day to day. So I thought the event was just incredible. I did.
Yeah, I think everyone knows Mickey's story already, but since you're not always over on this platform, for anybody in the audience that doesn't know, Mickey came to our event here in Jupiter in December. And this audience had such a profound impact. His experience there had such a profound impact on him that, you went home and proceeded to change the entire format of your show.
Incredible.
From Mickey Talks to Above the Rabbit Hole. You want just talk about that for a second, because there may be some people here that don't know that story. But we got to watch kind of the everything that we're all describing here that we experienced at these events. We kind of got to watch how that impacted you, and you went home and you grabbed your partner Matt and said, hey, we're going to go along on this journey, and you kind of you completely changed direction into what you're doing today.
He had the red suppository.
That's right.
It's like, I'll tell you the most fascinating thing for me is, what, I'm a storyteller at the end of the day. That's what I do. I tell stories. And I think this story that you guys are living is an incredible one in human history. I've said this 1,000 times. I've heard people say, oh, dude, it's a cult. And I go, well, let me explain something. This is the only cult I ever heard of where you join if you want. The moment you join, they love you. And when you go to them, they give you money. It's like the most backwards cult I've ever been in my life. And if this is a cult, I will gladly be the whatever they need me to be in this thing. Because yeah, it's hard to explain to people that you can just be this genuine, kind, concerned, wholesome, honest, just upfront. You can ask for forgiveness. You can be shown grace. You cannot be judged for mistakes because of the result of your redemption and your efforts that you're trying to make. I mean, I don't know how else to really, what are you supposed to say to something like that? That's not good enough for me. I don't know what to do at that point. So I just don't know what's better. So I'll take this one. This is pretty awesome.
Mickey, I got one more quick question for you. You've had such an incredible career. You've done events way larger than this. You've been, a top radio host. Given that you were 2 months into Above the Rabbit Hole at best when this thing happened, were you surprised by the incredible reception that you got when you walked out there for the first time? Did you realize how quickly you had an impact on this group just in the first couple of months that you've been doing this?
Dave, can you give me 5 seconds to think about that? Because it's actually a heavy question. Did I understand the impact? Let me say it this way. The first time I went on Rambo's show, this is not an insult to anyone listening to this. I knew I could hold my own on the show, shooting the shit, talking back and forth. I knew that I might actually be able to smoke every one of you if I had to, in that area. So I knew I had that part. That does not justify the other part that I got when I got to Jupiter. I can get attention anywhere I go. But what I couldn't get or can't always get is sincerity and connection and recognition for the passion in what you're doing. Not just what you're saying, not just what the reaction you're getting from others, but they literally take the time to think about the things you're saying. Even if they happen to be funny, and they connect. And I've said this now a bunch in the last week. I've performed for, when I say this, guys, this isn't a joke. I mean, probably hundreds of thousands of people over my entire career I've been in front of. But I've never had an audience where when I leave the show, they stay with me. Like it's a different kind, and it's not like they're fans and they adore me and love me. It's not that kind of adoration. It's like my little part of this movement gets something. I get something from them for that, and that part resonates and it stays with me. So that's why I get so excited about trying to give back to them all that I can, with whether it's humor, showing them things they never knew, making them think about things they never thought, or allowing me to learn right in front of their face what most of them already knew, which I guess has to be painful to hear this stuff over and over. But I'm hoping that people understand that I'm kind of doing it so that people like me will see that it's okay, that you get through this, that you actually are supported by the people in this, and they take you in and sort of coddle you through it, but not in a weird way. It's very understanding. I'll just get random DMs, man, or random emails Matt and I get where it just says things like, hey, just checking on you guys. You're doing such a great job. But I remember when I started to wake up, it gets heavy, man. Don't forget, we love you. If you need to just talk, we're all here for you. When you hear that, you understand the emotion of it, and you understand it in a connective way that I don't think a lot of people truly get. Because when you really do start to bear the brunt of the heaviness of all of this, man, it sits on your chest a little bit, and it sits in your mindset. And when you lay down at night and you close your eyes and you want to think happy thoughts, sometimes there's some bad ones in there because you can't deny it. So this community has been second to nothing that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's just, and to know what the end is, it's like, I almost feel bad for the people that aren't here yet. As much as it hurts me, like at times, and the weight I feel I carry at times, just personally, I can't wait for everyone to have started this journey, because I know once we start seeing it in masses, this all works itself out, man. That's what enlightenment is. It's not one person at a time. It is a great awakening of minds all at once, and a general consciousness that just becomes one. And that is not of human origin. And that is something not to be overlooked. So to don't let this be underestimated. And that's why I've chosen to do it right in front of everyone, so that people will see one day that they had a chance to do this and learn, and they would wish they had done it earlier, because it's okay on the other end.
Beautiful.
Well said,
Wow.
brother. Well said.
That was profound.
Well said.
I hope you're recording that because I don't know one thing I just said.
It was inspired, I can tell you. That was great.
Thank you. No, I mean,
Yeah.
this is if in a year or two, this thing becomes, people start waking up and the audiences become big, and I just want to be like one of the people that will be remembered as going through it in front of everybody, because I'm hoping it gets used in the future where people can say, man, you want to watch a guy go insane for a while and then be able to sit in it and then sort of articulate the emotions that he's experiencing while it's happening. I just, I'm nothing other than just somebody that's trying to keep track of this for others, so that, sometimes when you have someone before you and you see what they go through, you say, okay, that little dude did it, I can do it. Man, this has been, I can't believe it took me 57 years to find the perfect thing for me. It's crazy. But I'll tell you, I'll be honest, this is where it gets really interesting for me, because had I found this 25, 30 years ago, I would not have felt it.
Right.
I had to go through everything I went through to understand what real pain, what real emotion, what real love, and what real awakening truly is, man. Because when you have nothing, that's when everything shows its value. When you can't have anything, then you understand what everything's worth. And that's when it's pretty interesting for the human mind. And then after that, things get real crystal clear real fast.
Yep. Amen, brother. Amen. Well, you know what, Joe, let's do this. And Mickey, I know you're in the middle of kind of working, so thank you for popping in. You jump out anytime you feel like you need to. Joe, I love the idea of bringing Lance in, since he's new, at least to this audience here on my side. You want to introduce this gentleman, and we'll bring him in?
Absolutely. It's going to take both Scott and I to fully introduce Lance.
Please.
Lance Shuttler, people might know him from a company called Ascent Nutrition, but he's someone that has been so willing to learn and share his experience, and is just a humble, beautiful soul. And he was on the cruise with LT. People have seen him on And We Know. People have seen him with Laura Logan. And he's just such a well-rounded, beautiful individual. That I want to start there. Scott, anything you want to say about Lance?
You left out brilliant, but I think you covered everything else. Lance is a brother and a friend, and I feel very fortunate to call him a friend. So we could talk about him all night, but let's just bring him on in.
Let's bring him on. Lance, welcome, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, brother.
Thank you, Dave. And thank you, Scott and Joe. And nice to meet you, Mickey. Appreciate all of that, you guys.
Thank you.
Definitely back to same to you guys too, for sure.
Absolutely. I think, Lance, give us a little bit of the audience, a little bit about your background and your awakening and what how things have unfolded for you. And it's pretty intriguing because he's transferred it into a whole different profession, which is a very profound story. So he's going to do more of a elevator, not full elevator pitch, but he'll take it from here.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So this will all be related to Q, you guys. So I've been following it from day one. And this is, part of why I'm here. Dave, I truly love what you're doing. I've been following your work for some time. I share some of the things that you post on X, on some of the more mainstream platforms like Instagram and Facebook, like stories, to help reach more of the mainstream people. And a lot of your stuff I've shared, but I love it. And just the short of this is, back in 2008, I was a freshman in college, and I had a family member have a detrimental experience with pharmaceuticals. The person ended up taking their life, and so it was the big wake up call for me at a young age to kind of start looking at things and scrutinizing. I was into health and health science. That's really what I was studying. And about a year and a half later was my big red pill. And, I love holding this up. It's the book, Inventing the AIDS Virus, by Dr. Peter Duesberg, that, talks all about Fauci, Bob Gallo, AZT, all the stuff that we know now that's commonplace, HIV and AIDS being created and weaponized against people, against nature itself too. That woke me up, you guys, to this whole New World Order, the cabal, Illuminati type stuff. Around 2011, I was listening and reading a lot of Benjamin Fulford, David Wilcock. Those two guys, as many people know, back in that day, those times were really the only two people talking about this mass arrest scenario, that there's this quiet military intelligence operation. Though they didn't call it Q back then, they were using a lot of the same language, that there is something going on to take down these Satanists and arrest them and hold them all accountable publicly. So, I just, kind of shifting through this quickly, when I learned that, as we all kind of have it in our own ways, when we learn about the Q stuff and all of that, our lives sort of shift in a way that's conscious and intentional, but also definitely like, divinely orchestrated by God, in that, kind of similar to what Mickey was saying. It takes its own course, and we're kind of helped and guided, and it's in our own ways. So all the information kind of kept leading up to that. I started writing a bunch of different articles for alternative media sites, just spreading the word on all these sort of topics, how they all fit together. And, being able to do some work with different people. I helped Robert Steele for a little while with his YouTube channel and just some content. A lot of people know him for what he was doing, exposing all of this stuff over the years. And then, when I learned about the Q stuff, just actively following that and seeing how it all connected and made sense. So, I've been reading them since it was a couple days after they first dropped that I learned about them specifically. And, just been watching, but also active in the ways that I can, spreading information, trying to help people in whatever way that is, and just get good info out there and uplift people's spirits and help, guide the direction of what we're being told to help our fellow, brothers and sisters to not lose their minds. Because, I know you guys have talked about this, and then I'll kind of wrap here on this little part. Is imagine if we had not known all of this Q stuff. Mickey, you had said this. I know you guys all are too. Everyone listening, we're all very thankful that we, were led to this in some way. However that happened for us individually, it's all different. And we now know, and we have known, that there's such amazing, beautiful things taking place. And, that's why a lot of people have lost their minds, because they have not known or not wanted to know that, hey, there actually is amazing things going on. You just have to sift through and look past the optics of what's going on mainstream wise, and see through and see actually what's going on.
Yep, absolutely. And you were on the cruise with LT and we know, I guess it was going on pretty much the exact same time as our event. I'm sure the audience would be interested. I know some of them that have done it, but tell everybody a little bit about what that experience was like. How many people were there, what you guys did. I know, I don't think. I think Joe and Scott, you guys said the key thing. It's like I've said for a long time, it doesn't matter. Like Mickey started doing it. Mickey at the club he has, has just started getting the people together on a Wednesday night. And, sometimes there's a bunch of people there. You said one time there was only 9 people there. But the point is you're getting like-minded people together. So it doesn't have to be one of these big things. It could be 2 or 3 or 4 people. But just being able to find a group of people that where you can feel like you're comfortable with them and you can openly talk about this stuff makes such a huge difference. I've told my story. I spent nearly a year in bed. Some of it was health related. Some of it was just going through this process and not feeling like I could interact with other people. It's so important. So Lance, tell me what the, talk about the cruise. Tell me what it was like, what you experienced, and anything you want to tell the people.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Well, it truly is awesome. And I'm not even just saying that. Everyone who is on there feels it and knows it too. There's all sorts of reasons, and I'll, go into some of that stuff. First, it's just like you said, Dave, it's so great to be able to speak to people who don't think you're crazy when you say things that to a normal person or with, mainstream awareness of things would think you're, wacko. We all know we're on the same page in general. And that's very comforting. So LT from And We Know, he brought around 700 people from And We Know on that, and there was, I think, around 2,000 people on the cruise in total. So it's about a third of us were And We Know, and the whole thing is very well done. First, like me personally, I love just being able to see and talk to LT. He and I had, a few great conversations. Just kind of alone and just be able to speak with him briefly. He's got an amazing family, amazing team behind him there, and we know they're all fantastic people. They know about this stuff, great supporters of him too. And that's important. As you guys know, it's not just a given that always your friends or your family or the people working with you actually see and support fully what you're doing. So it's amazing from an outside perspective to see that we know how great LT is and what he does and what he puts together is, and that the people around him also see that and support him in that too. And then of course there's so many, just familiar faces. I was on the one before that, saw a lot of the same people, different podcasters. So DC Lidstone, I'm going to read off a list so I don't forget anyone. DC was there, Grasshopper, Real AF, Patriot, Justice Cometh, Tracy Taylor, Julie Donuts, Observing Consciousness, and of course Dean Erickson. And there's something real quick that I'll go through, you guys, and this is from Dean. He posted this. So Dean wanted to get to test to see if we could get a basically, or a confirmation even from Trump or someone on the team of some sort of acknowledgement. So Dean publicly asked, they were streaming this, will Trump or Scavino give us some sort of proof or And, it didn't come from Dan directly or President Trump directly per se, but something interesting did happen. And, Dean and LT and everyone was talking about it on the ship. So the account Il Donaldo Trumpo posted shortly after that at 8:28 p.m. A 37-second video talking about how they're all corrupt. But 8:28, as you guys know, that's from Scripture, Romans 8:28. That's why LT created And We Know. So that's part of it. And we know that all good things work through God, and everything is, done through God. Everything good comes from God. Different ways to speak through that, interpret it, but that's why LT did that and created it as such. So okay, is it just a crazy coincidence / synchronicity? Of course it's always possible, but we don't think so, and I don't think so. No one else on the boat did. It was really cool and beautiful and amazing. I was fortunate to be sitting next to LT at like basically this little dinner, and Dean came up, said, "Hey, you won't believe this. I think we just got our confirmation." Showed him. We were all sitting there, pretty wild. So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, Dean and LT, they were the ones that can speak about it more fluently, but that's the short of what happened, and pretty amazing.
Totally.
Yeah, it's fun. It's actually, it's funny that you say that, because let me show you guys something, because the Il Donato Trumpo account is, let's call it controversial, right? There's some people that think it's connected to Trump, some people that don't. I waver back and forth, but more lately when I see stuff like that, I'm like, I think there's somebody pulling the strings on that. And it's funny because it's funny that you mentioned that particular account, because this just happened this morning. Let me pull this up. OG Anon was saying the same thing. Like he doesn't believe it's actually Trump, but again, a lot of people believe it's connected. So he tagged Dan Scavino and POTUS in the press secretary account, and he said, "I want Trump to change ICE NICE, the National Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So the media has to say NICE agents all day, every day. Now that was 6:44 p.m. yesterday, and this morning that Il Donato Trumpo account, so 6:44 exactly, 11:44 the same day. Post, I'm renaming it to National Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. So there's the same thing again, like you're
Wow.
talking about.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 hours after he tagged Scavino and POTUS and the press secretary about changing ICE to NICE, that Il Donato account posted the exact same thing. So take
That's
that
wild.
for what it may or may not be, you know. But
Yep.
yeah, I don't look, Mickey. I'm sure you have a pretty good idea of this already. I mean, the number of times that all of us have been watching this stuff, seeing the nods and the hat tips and everything, it's just there's far too many of them to be coincidence at this point. And I had not heard that story about what happened on the cruise, but that's incredible to hit that 828, which is exactly the scripture that, and we know is based off of. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
not only is it not a coincidence, guys, but it's like, you know, they're just, to me, you got to remember, I'm seeing all this stuff for the first time. So it's like glaring at this point. I don't know if it was always this glaring. I don't know if it was always this frequent. I don't know if it was always this effective. And I don't know if it was always sort of the other stuff going along with it. You know, the AI robot yesterday with Melania, the just all the different things that are unveiling themselves to me. I mean, like I said, though, this is the first time I've seen any of this stuff. So it's insane to me. It's obvious.
I mean, Mickey, did you happen to hear Joe and Scott? I don't even know if you guys did. Did any of you guys happen to hear what happened last weekend with what we think may have been? And by the way, I never go down this road of saying I got hat tips because I just don't like to make it about myself. But we did a show last week. It out of the blue. On Friday, there was, you know, I'm sure you guys remember all the news stories. There was this made up ABC news story regarding drone attacks, right? That the Iranian terror cells were going to attack LA with drones.
Yeah.
Right. And it was very interesting because Caroline Levitt came out and talked about that basically ABC had to retract it. And the word she used was that they were trying to intentionally harm the American people. And I was like, well, that's a whole different set of language right there. And the long and the short of it, I had posted it, and somewhere in the comments, somebody put in something about 1864 and the fact that Abraham Lincoln actually jailed journalists. And I was like, well, wait. I didn't know that. And if you guys remember, in Q Drop 22, they asked what former president used the military to save the republic and what occurred exactly, right? What occurred exactly? Well, we know he suspended habeas corpus to allow the military to make arrests. We know he defied the Supreme Court. I and Joe and a number of them, Patrick, all of us, none of us were aware that he actually, as it's right here, in 1864, after a forged proclamation called for more troops was published, he ordered the military via executive order to arrest the editors and seize the presses of those newspapers. Right? I had not known that. So last Saturday night, Joe and I and Patrick did an entire show digging into this, right? So we went through this, we went through the executive order, we read the text of it. Remember, Drop 32 talks about not even the mainstream media can hide, and rest assured, some will be jailed as deep cover agents. I'm going through this quickly because we did all this. We have this famous Q Drop that lists all the journalists that they caught in 2016, colluding with the DNC. So we finished this show where we did an entire dig explaining about how Lincoln jailed journalists basically for treason, for false information. Lincoln, journalist, treason, jailed, right? Literally the next day, Donald Trump comes out of the blue in the evening and starts talking about that Iran is working in close coordination with the fake news on a fake story about the USS Abraham Lincoln
I wish people wouldn't get so hung up on the religious part of this beautiful message that we've been trying to tell each other for so long, that it just basically comes down to good and evil. Forget party letters, forget anything like that. Don't even bother with trying to figure out what religion's right. None of that. To me right now, the world is showing us who the big players are. And it's the devil, it's Jesus, and God. And you got to pick a side. And even if you don't understand everything, just go to the good and the bad part and just decide there. And so to me, when I hear this girl say, oh, there's reptiles, whether you believe it or not, I get it. I just get it. Yeah, I do. I get it.
And you know, look, same thing. Like the whole reptilian thing. I've looked into it. I don't dismiss anything at this point by any means. And I look at something like that. You know, I think Scott made a really important point. And if you look back through history, there's not, that I know of, there's not a religion that has not been weaponized to do really bad things in the world, right?
Yeah.
And I don't claim to be an expert on anything to do with Muslims, but I do know this: they've done a very good job over the last 26 years at taking what is known to be an extremist side of the religion and making us, especially as Americans, think that that's the entire religion, right? Like, if you actually read, like, personally, the people that I've known in my life that are dedicated to the Quran are some of the most family-oriented, respectful, God-fearing people there are. So I would never say, going back to your original question, that anything is ever eliminated. But here's what I do know. The 26 years that especially Mickey, you were in Baltimore, I was in New York City, the years of fear that we lived through post 9/11, me driving through a tunnel every day and all that other kind of crap, was complete horseshit, right? At the end of the day, if there was enough people that wanted death to America, something would have happened, right? Because at the end of the day, right? Look, there was not. You take 9/11. We know what didn't happen there. The shoe bomber. None of that stuff was real, right? It would have been very easy for. So I used to say, somebody just take a Jeep Grand Cherokee, fill it with dynamite, and drive into the Lincoln Tunnel. Done. Why did no one ever do that, right? So to me, it was a lot of amplified messaging. And as Scott said, like, we know what Israel is what Israel was intending to do in the Middle East, you know, pushing their borders out, causing chaos, getting everyone to hate America. You take that away, that's going to change a whole lot of things. And I guess the last point, and this may be my own little echo chamber. The one thing I've noticed over the last 6 years is whenever we see something that is clearly amplified messaging, to me, it's proof that it's well under some level of control. I'll give you an example. My favorite one is the border, right? The 20 million people, look, this is me saying this, but I think between a bunch of us, we've proven this pretty well. The 20 million people didn't come over the border when Biden was in office, right? We were watching a recreation of what happened in the previous years, right? That we've shown it many, many times. They were taking a camera, they were putting it on certain areas of the border, and then it was our guys put migrants in New York City and Chicago. And I'm not saying all of it was fake, but they did a lot of orchestration to convince people, holy crap, the border's wide open. And we've, I think, proven it wasn't. So what were they doing? It was something that they had under control, but okay, now we got to show people what could have been, right? And I could give you a bunch of examples of that. Look, even Iran, right? What we're looking at right now, we're all kind of in agreement. There's something going on, but it's more of a what could have happened type of situation, right? So one of the things that's been top of conversation for the better part of the last year has been this, all of a sudden, not 3 years after 9/11, now in 2026, we're getting Muslim mayors, and they're trying to show us people in New York City these staged events of people bowing to Mecca, and they're telling that Mamdani put the new law in place, even though he didn't. Adams did it 3 years ago, and they're amplifying. There's all these there's places of worship popping up everywhere. There is a psyop going on trying to make us believe now that Muslims are trying to take over our country now. Now, who's running that psyop? It doesn't look at somebody like Mamdani. That ain't the bad guys doing that. So this may be a little bit of an amateurish take, but I think I think they're trying to draw us attention to like real things that did happen in London and the UK and was planned to happen here. And I think, sure, there's always going to be, you never completely eliminate a threat. But I think to answer your original question, if you take out, the real problem in the Middle East and all the things that they were trying to do to inflame this, you're going to end up with a lot more peaceful world. Sure, it doesn't ever eliminate extremists, but I think it'll make a hell of a difference.
Well,
You're
Mickey,
muted.
you're muted.
Hey man, I mean this like I could talk about this forever, man, and I think you're so right, like the way you're looking at it. But I do also think there is an element, like you're saying, you're not going to get rid of all the extremism. There's always going to be that hatred. It'll be blind hatred this time, which I think is the key. I mean, if when you have that kind of money and power feeding that sort of ideology, that's when it gets dangerous. And I hopefully in the future, we'll be able to track and focus where that hatred is heading and cut that snake's head off before it gets too big and it swallows us all again. But man, listen, I hate this, but I'm on in like 12 minutes. I'm on stage. I really appreciate this, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Joe, Scott, we're going to talk Tuesday, right?
That's right. 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern.
Yeah.
Mickey, real quick, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me at Above Rabbit Hole on X with and then on Rumble Above the Rabbit Hole. Matt and I are so grateful for everything. David, once again, thank you. Scott and Joe, look forward to this week coming up, and glad to be a part of all this, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mickey. Take care, brother. Love you.
Bye-bye. Love you guys.
Love you too.
All right, let me do this guy. Go ahead. Keep going.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you don't mind, if I could take a minute and just do one palate cleanser, I got to run my one sponsor here.
No,
if you guys
please.
And obviously anything you guys want to promote as well, please bring it up. It's a weird thing the way Rumble does this right now. If you're watching on X, Pilled, or if you're watching on TrueStream, you're just going to see a placeholder for a minute. This ad will run on my Rumble. It's a new system the way they're doing it. Hopefully they're going to have all this stuff straightened out soon. So I just want to thank our friends over at the Wellness Company for their continued support of the channel. Again, like I said, you'll see a placeholder for 1 minute, and we'll be back right after this. Thanks, guys. Since 2024, I've been telling you that there's a better, more patriotic way to shop. There's a way to get cleaner, safer, and healthier products at a price that you can afford. And you can do it while supporting a company that makes everything right here in the USA. This company has something that can improve the lives of anyone in any household. You know, every morning I start my day with a clean smile using the toothpaste and mouthwash from 17switch.com. In the shower, it's their body wash and moisturizer. And by breakfast, I'm mixing up a protein shake or baking something healthy with their clean mixes. And when I clean my home, I trust their chemical-free glass cleaners, laundry detergents, dryer sheets, bathroom cleaners, room deodorizer, and dish soaps. In the afternoon, I can choose from an assortment of healthy snacks. And at dinner, I enjoy the finest, cleanest, and tastiest beef available anywhere in the country. I believe in 17 Switch because for over 40 years, they've stood up to big box conglomerates that don't have our best interests at heart. With over 500 clean, safe products made right here in America, they support our jobs and our economy. If you want a cleaner, safer, and healthier home, visit 17switch.com today. And when you do, you'll talk to someone from this community who will help you make the switch. So please, help us continue to build a new parallel economy by visiting 17switch.com today. All right. Thank you guys for that. Guys, anything that you guys want to share with the audience?
Well, yeah. I wanted to respond to something Mickey said. Now, I'm not a religious person at all. Honestly, religion just has served to divide people for so many years. And I don't mean to step on anybody's toes. I've been a student of it for a long time, read the Bible twice, studied in college. There's nothing religious about the Bible. And I think people really need to know that. It's not religious. There's nothing religious about what Jesus had to say. When he said form an ecclesia, that's not a church. That's a political group, really. But, it's important to understand the movie Book of Eli took this on in a really interesting way where Denzel Washington is trying to preserve the knowledge of the Bible. And then Gary Oldman's character is trying to procure it for his own uses, because there's power in it. The power is to control people. And these religions have really been about controlling people. And I just think that, we're inherently spiritual because, we were created by something really powerful. But it's important to not be manipulated by these things. And I think we've had enough wars over it. We've had enough disagreements and division over it. And I think we're really entering a time where human beings are kind of coming together. And, as evidence of what's happening in the Middle East, the capital of religious and holy wars. This feels like an evolution to me, and I couldn't be happier to be alive right now. Turbulent as it is.
I have to agree with you on that. What I've noticed so much over the last couple of years is, I don't know, there's something happening, and cliche. But what I mean is, I've obviously moving down here to Florida, right? I've met a lot of new people, and I met a lot of new people. A lot of them are much younger than me, and I noticed that I had this kind of blind assumption. I think part of it because it was my own journey that, like, living in New York City, I got so far away from anything. I don't like even calling it religious, right? Anything spiritual, anything to do with God, the Bible, all that stuff. I've come back to a lot of it. But again, I'm much like you in that I look at the Bible as what I can take from it, and my relationship with God is what it is. What I've noticed over the last few years and talking to people is like, it's amazing how many times I've been talking to, like, a bartender, a 25-year-old kid, a bartender, right? And you get to know them and you start talking, and like when they get comfortable, they're willing to talk about their relationship with God, whatever that may be. Because if you come at it where you're not coming from a place of, hey, what are you? What were you raised? What church do you go to? What synagogue do you go to? When you kind of just talk about it like the way you're presenting it, more of like a spiritual thing, like what I've just noticed how many more people are open to kind of having that conversation versus putting it in a box and coming at it from the perspective of, I was raised Catholic, or I was this, or I was that. It's like, I feel like in the past you would say that, and that was a taboo subject. But when you kind of talk about it just openly, like, hey, how do you feel about this stuff? Everyone's got some kind of view. I don't run into too many people that are like, no, I don't, there's no God. I don't run into that. I find that people are really willing to speak about it, but in their own terms, I guess, is the way I see it.
Yeah, it's not in the book. It's in your DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Well, I want to talk. I mean, I think an example of God working in this movement was when, Dr. Jan was talking about you guys, and let's talk about True Stormy Joe for a second. I mean, how many hours a week, a day is he working on this stuff?
And 18 to 20 all day. Yeah.
She acknowledges it. That can only help this movement and these shows and Q, etc. She shows up at the event. I mean, if that's not divine intervention, I mean, that was incredible. It really was. And then there's something I want to address that I went out before Amy went out to Mickey and talked about his height and her shoes, all that at the event at Threadfest. I went out to Mickey because Dr. Jan said, hey, Mickey should ask how many people at this event. Is it their first event? And there was so much going on with Mickey in that moment. He never asked it. But what I love, I think Rambo said, what part of the country are different people from? And it was really beautiful to see everyone standing up. And who I want to focus on right now, and I sent the link to you, Dave, is the people in the northeastern part of the United States. And we're doing an event, Elisa and Donna and Stu's News, he's coming all the way over from the UK. They're doing the Awakening Summit, and that's going to be in Lynbrook, New York, and it's April 25th and 26th. And I mean, this is only like, what, $85, $90 for 2 days. You can take a peek. Yeah, thanks, Dave. And then there's the featured speakers. Go ahead and click view all speakers and you can see. But I just wanted to share this because people are really thirsty for this and it's happening in New York. So I would think between all of these speakers and the platforms and shows like NewsTreason and Above the Rabbit Hole and TruthStream, that we should get a really great turnout, and because it's another in-person event. And one of the main, I mean, Lewis Herms is only going to be there virtually, but I tell you what, go up just a little bit. Matt's going to be there. There's a dude on here a little bit higher up. You're going to see, is Brad, there's Brad Olson. Brad Olson was a big part of Scott and I think Scott can speak to this, but we met Brad in the summer of 2021, and he's just this big Yeti. He's the essence of the cool vibes of California and exploration and Antarctica all in one person. He's going to be at this event. And if anyone is in the New Jersey, New York, New Hampshire, anywhere in the Northeast, if you guys can come to this event, we're going to be there. And I mean, Brad is just so worth seeing in person. That alone is worth it. And then, of course, you've got Dr. Jan and Derek Johnson and myself and Scott. But Scott, anything you want to say about any of this or about Brad Olson?
Oh, geez. Brad Olson's like Indiana Jones if he surfed. And he was much taller. Like, I love Brad. He's great. No, we're adding guests to this list, I think, all the time. I think it's going to be a very worthy event if you can make it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
They actually reached out to me just the other day. I'm trying to work on my schedule to see if I can actually get up there and be with you guys in person. If not, appear virtually. I'd actually also like to highlight right here our own Cat Light War Patriot, our mod, who's in the chat, I believe, right now.
Beautiful.
Can't say how proud I am of her, because I remember when she first started working with us, and I first got to know her. She sent me some videos of some podcasts she had done, and I said, you should really be out there doing more of this kind of stuff. So to see her being up there with this great group is amazing. But yes, I am actively working on trying to shift some stuff around so I can be up there with you guys in person. And you guys can see it right there, theawakeningsummit.org. If you guys are watching this on replay, I'll also drop it in the description below.
Exactly.
Hey, any chance I can get to hang out with you guys, I'm gonna take advantage of it. But all joking aside, these are the type of events, just getting people together, and I love seeing something like that happening in New York.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And actually, Joe, I don't know, you might not have been in the room yet, but I did. And if you guys are watching on the live stream, I don't know if they had the camera turned around or not when I did this, but I actually did on one of the panels. I asked the room how many people it was their first event, and it was about 75% of the room. I was actually shocked like that, because I figured it was a lot of people that had come to maybe our Jupiter event and some of these other things. And I was very generic about it. I said, how many people, this is the first time you came to an event like this? And it was like 3/4 of the room. It really was incredible. It gives me, look, these events, you guys well know, nobody puts on these events to make money. You're lucky if they break even.
Exactly.
Every one of us would be happy. I know I speak for all of us, Patrick, Joe, myself, that just like our event here in Jupiter, that cost us money, and we were more than happy to do it. And I'm more than happy to do it as long as I possibly can, because the value that everyone gets out of these things, of just getting like-minded people together, is so worth it. And I don't know, I was talking to Mickey, Joe and I were talking to Mickey that Sunday night, kind of after everyone had left, and there was just a few of us hanging out before we had flights on Monday. And he's kind of, I don't want to like get out ahead of our skis, but I honestly believe that we are going to hit a point down the road, and where all of us, and I don't mean any small group, I mean all of us truthers, like that, where these are going to be big things. I think somebody eventually is going to come along and put together a big major awakening type of event. I think we're a little ways off from being able to do something like that. But this is actually another question. It's actually perfectly leads me into a question I wanted to ask you guys, because here's where I'm going with this. Quite honestly, guys, even when I started, I think first doing shows with you, I was not in a great place. I had just been getting through illness, anxiety, depression, going through that same kind of dark night of the soul that we all go through, where you're trying to process all this stuff. And like I said at the top of the show, I spent probably the better part of 2023 really not leaving the house. I think I left to go to some doctor's appointments. I might have gone out for Mother's Day, and that's about it. And it's just incredible how going to some of these events like this, and meeting everybody. Actually, the first one I went to was the one that you guys invited me to with Lewis Herms, that you guys eventually didn't make it to, but the Tampa event, and then the Reawaken tour, and kind of everything just changed after that. And my long story short is, now that I've been down here in Florida for 2 years, and part of it is when you get to that point in your awakening, where you're just comfortable with what you accept the fact that there's people around you that don't know that. You're okay with that. Like I'm okay with sitting at the bar and the guy next to me wants to talk about the NBA. I'm okay with that. I have everyone else here to talk about this kind of stuff with. But what I've really noticed over the last year, and everyone that watches this channel knows this, traveling around, going to different events, going to even just business trips for with the company with 17 Switch, where it's not an Anon crowd, it's just a Patriot crowd. Guys, the number of times, and I know my audience is probably going to roll their eyes right now, but the number of times I sit down with somebody, and Joe Rambo's great at doing this. He loves making me uncomfortable. We'll be here in town, and we'll run into somebody. We'll be sitting next to somebody at a restaurant at the bar, and they say, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go." But you know what? He's right as usual. Joe Rambo is right. He started doing this when he moved down here a year ago, and at first I wasn't comfortable with it. And then I started noticing something. They would ask, "Oh, podcasts? What kind of podcasts?" And we would just say, kind of like deep conspiracy. And the second you say you can't even get the whole word conspiracy out. I'm not kidding you guys. 99 out of 100 times, they want to know. Their eyes light up.
Yep.
Right. I'm not talking about like 10 encounters at this point. I'm talking about hundreds, right? And all over the place. So I think we're at this inflection point where there are so many people that know, maybe they don't know to the level that you guys or we do, but they know that that conspiracy theories are true and the stuff is coming out. And I feel like it's just the second you open that door for somebody, they want to talk. And I know you guys travel a lot. You go to so many events. You're all over the place. Are you guys seeing the same thing I am?
God, yes. And Dave, by the way, I spent 3 years in the same state that you did. I that was rough. It was a dark night of the soul for sure. And it was sort of like, I don't know, paying my penance or whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of shocking. If you look at what CNN is doing right now, they're trying to look like a podcast. They're huddling around a table. All the news outlets that are failing so miserably, they don't have the audience that we have. They're like, how do we emulate what they're doing because it's working? But what they don't have is authenticity. And people see that, they read that, they do want to know because they feel the sea change. I mean, they know. I mean, you got to be under room temperature IQ to not know that you're being lied to at this point. I mean, everybody knows, and I think they're quite sick of it at this point. So, where do they turn? I think we provide some value, and I'm really, really happy to be here to do it. What a blessed place we find ourselves in.
Well said. Well said. In fact, Dave, it was a year ago that we met Matt Geiger in person, and Scott and I did a raffle. We had a bunch of folks that donated to an in-person event. It was at Millhouse Ciders in Eatonville, Washington, and then Matt got involved and really changed our lives. And now Scott's actually down with Matt Geiger down in the Glendale, Arizona area. But I can put this out there now because I've been doing events, and when Scott's up in the Northwest, he'll join me again. There's a pizza joint only a couple miles from where I'm at, and if people go to our link tree, you could go ahead and share our link tree, Dave. I think I'll pull it up for you. I'll send it to you so you have it. And if people look at this, we do a monthly meetup, and I don't know how many NewsTreason fans are up in the, Seattle, Tacoma area, but here's the link tree. And, we do a meetup, and usually there's, 15, 20 people. And I'm just, we host it monthly just to see, kind of gauge the temperature. Because of course we're going to do larger events down the road, but it's really cool to see people connecting with each other, whether it's a 20-some-year-old kid and a 60-something-year-old wise gentleman that's been awake for a long time. But it's really cool to see that in our local community, people are starting to come out, and we're doing some events in Seattle. A friend of ours just created a website. He has a pyramid in his backyard, and then we're doing a retreat at Mount Rainier in August, and I'm releasing a show about that. But because we all want to make a difference in our own backyard, and I'm even in a men's group, and the guys are asking, like, well, what do you do around here? And I told them last night, I said, I'm here because there's not a whole lot of people for me to talk to about this stuff. I mean, there's the monthly meetup, but people are really hungry for this stuff. So it's such an honor to do the meetups. And, like you said, it's not about money. You're not doing this for money. You're just doing this because when you have someone that comes to an event, which happened to Scott and I, and they didn't take themselves out that morning because they felt like they were sane, that's the best payment in the world, man. It just, wow. I mean, I get a little verklempt thinking about it.
Oh, it's beautiful. And it's a real act of courage to show up to something like that in an area like the Northwest. It's brutally liberal. And, seriously, I know so many people estranged from their families, estranged from their spouse, because they they smell what's cooking. You know, I mean, they understand, you know, the lies and so on. And you know, I got to applaud that kind of courage. You know, in a place like Arizona or Florida or whatnot, it's a whole lot easier. But in a place like the Northwest, I mean, they got their pitchforks and their torches out. I'm telling you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I always say one of the most, I mean, there's a lot of dark stuff that we all see by running these different communities. But yeah, the thing that probably breaks my heart the most is just, I mean, God, over 3 years I've been doing this podcast now. It's got to be in the thousands, the number of times I've seen stories in the chat or via email of, you know, somebody that's been married. I'm not talking 5 years, I'm talking 30, 40 years. You know, everything's great for 30 years. And then all of a sudden now, over the last 5, 10 years, they don't live in the same room. They don't live in the same house. Or, you know, we get people, I mean, it's a running joke. We do the Friday night call-in show, and it's usually a woman. She's hiding in her backyard in her shed, like literally hiding in the shed to call in to our show. I mean, that kills me. But on the positive side, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 4 or 5 couples specifically that I spoke to at our event, that they got their spouse to come for the first time. Like, there was at least 4 or 5 couples that I wouldn't say the couples came up to me. It was probably one of them came up to me. They said, by the way, I have, you know, my husband here, or I got my wife and my daughter to come. And that really made my weekend, because to see that, you know, something is happening enough that people are starting to realize what's going on. And, you know, hopefully we're starting to enter that phase where I know, I'm sure you guys would agree with this, that a lot of what most of the people in our communities are waiting for are those fractured relationships to start to come back together. So, you know, hopefully we're starting to turn that corner as the world is starting to see that something isn't right. I don't know. I feel like we're truly getting. I used to get very bothered 3-4 years ago when people would say, you know, the older OG Anons and older truthers would say, you know, there's going to be a day people are going to come around, and we're getting stories left and right. We just had somebody call into Open Lines the other day that said they had a liberal friend of theirs call them after like 4 years and apologize because they realized Pizzagate was real.
Wow, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
I think we're through. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
No, I'm just saying, I get those calls. I mean, I have friends that, you know, I mean, I was always kind of an artist, so I was like delightfully eccentric, you know, and that was entertaining until it became political, and then I was the enemy. But no, I've definitely had the apology calls left and right, and I'm not looking for it. I'm just, hey,
right.
It's great that you're you know, getting deprogrammed, I suppose. You know, what a wonderful time, and I see this unity piece spreading. I really do.
Yeah.
I had a situation not long ago. I've since become much closer friends with this person, but the restaurant where we had our event here in Jupiter, which, as people know, is kind of like my second home. I knew the head chef there for over a year. He was the head chef. His girlfriend, who I was friends with, was one of the bartenders. And for the first year and a half I was down here, we just hung out, you know, like talk BS at the bar. Every once in a while we'd go, when they got done, we go out for drinks somewhere. And one day he comes up and he goes, "Why didn't you tell me you had a podcast?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, I'm not going to say your name. He's so-and-so and I we were watching your show last night. It's unbelievable. And he started going off on all this stuff. Knew all of it. But that's like the example. I mean, I sat with these people for well over a year. And it's just because they had that notion that most people, I can't say anything. And then the second they realized it, you know, and then since we've had the event here, again, young staffers at this place who are in their 20s are after they saw what we were doing there, they're all want to know. And so many of them, they're watching the podcast now, and they knew about, maybe not Q to the extent, but again, you name it, they all kind of knew certain things about what was going on, and you would have never known it until somebody said something. And I just think that I kind of think that's the inflection point that we're at right now where, I don't know about you guys. Don't you think that we took an absolutely massive step the first months of this year with when you got guys like Joe Rogan and Bill Maher and all these guys talking about not only just Epstein but Pizzagate, and it's going viral around the world. I mean, I think we've taken a massive step forward already in just a few months.
Oh God, yes. God, yes. I had a friend, that was just completely not awake to any of this stuff, and after a couple of years, he's like, "Well, why are you doing all this traveling? What are you up to?" And finally, I had to say, "All right, well, I have a show," and I didn't even tell him where to find it. Well, he dropped by. He's now living in this area. He dropped by with his girlfriend. She's totally read in. She was here talking to Matt about George Magazine, and they were off on their own conversation, and he's completely comfortable with it. People are waking up. I'm just saying, it's great.
I have not had, love Joe Rambo, but since Joe Rambo got down to Florida, there's nobody down here anywhere that doesn't know my secret, and there has not been one person that has judged me in the least. Not one. In fact, quite the opposite.
Yeah.
A lot more people have embraced what we do. And yes, I recognize that it's Florida, but I think that you take a place like my old home state in New York, and I just theorize that I think to many people it does look darker up there because yes, you have your libs, but I think you just have a lot of people that are emblematic of what I just described. They probably sit at the bar or the rec center or the coffee shop or where it is every day, and they maybe just think they're kind of looking around thinking I'm the only one, and they're not. And I think we're just at the point where it's not going to take too many more of these Epstein Pizzagate style reveals to really for the floodgates to open.
Yeah, I think we need to curb the "I told you so's" for that very reason. Yeah. Welcome.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was Liz Crokin was just on. I'm looking for the show, and it was really. Oh, she was on with 8-Track.
Yeah. I think that was Friday
amazing.
Night. Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was able to share things that she was very vulnerable, and I mean we've met Mark. That guy has a heart of gold. I mean,
yes, he does.
He's been through a lot himself, and it's so cool to see our peers. Having these conversations. We had a conversation, if anyone's familiar with Out of Shadows, Scott and I, this was about 2.5 years ago now, we did an epic 3-hour interview with Mike Smith from Out of Shadows. It was incredible. And it's just so cool to see the heart. Like it's not based on ego or likes or any of this. Like, and everyone that watches TrueStream, they know how shadow banned we are. I mean, an example you can look right now. We probably have 200 to 300 people on Rumble. There's probably 3,000 people watching on NewsTreason. But that's what happens when you get to know Lewis Herms, one of the most shadow banned people on the planet. And so, if there's one other thing I want to plug, it's Lewis Herms for governor of California, and that's Herms for Cali. Let's pull up that site for Lewis. I mean, right now, it feels like one of the biggest missions is to get Lewis Herms elected, because if that happens and he flips California, I'll find that link. I mean, that would change everything.
Everything. Yeah, it's real important to support him.
Awesome.
I want to point out with Out of Shadows, that was that aha moment that Lara Logan had. Remember where she realized during the interview that her producer was her handler. It was
that was Into the Light. That was the second film. But yes. It was
all right. Well, okay.
Yeah. But same filmmaker, Mike Smith.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I'm so happy for all these people. I actually had a chance to meet Mike Smith when we were blessed enough to get invited by one of our viewers down to Mar-a-Lago. I was at where was I? Oh, I was at a Club 47 event last year. General Flynn was speaking, and Liz Crokin was sitting there in the front row. And one of my friends ran up and said, "Hey, do you know who NewsTreason?" And she goes, "Yeah, I follow that account." I was like, "Oh, wow, that's really cool." So I got to meet her, And I just looked at her, and it was literally a year ago in February. And I said, Liz, I said, are you ready? And she's like, what do you mean ready? I said, I think you're going to be a busy person at some point in the next year. And that was obviously a pure just guess. So to see her get validated for 10 years of being, deplatformed, demonetized, physically attacked, ridiculed, marginalized, everything else, is very cool to see. And she deserves everything that she has good coming for her in the future, because she put in a lot of work and took a lot of what, and she never backed down. And same thing with this man on the screen right here, Louis Herms. An absolute. I can't say enough good things about Louis. He's just an absolute beast. I don't know where he gets his energy from. My God, he just keeps going.
Yep, he really does. He's an absolute mentor. And what is his why? His why is trafficking, and to get the vote cleared up. It's amazing. He's one of the he was a little reluctant at the start because he knows what it's going to take, but then he realizes that he has to. He was chosen to do it, and it's amazing to watch our friend, who was a big inspiration for us. After we got the podcast going, to go to actual events, to go to Olympia, to go to Anaheim, and it's because of going to Anaheim that we met Lisa Schermerhorn, who's going to be at the event in New York. We met Carol Maureen Friesen, who got up on the stage at the Thread Fest. We just put an edit together of her retreat down in Costa Rica and her property. But it's just, you meet lifelong friends that you feel you've known for decades when you go to these events. And so guys, go to an event. Dave, is there any other events that are in the works yet that you can speak to, or do those need to be worked out for you? Because I'm excited about some of the things you've told me, but I don't know if you can talk about it publicly.
I'm hoping that I'm hoping 4 events will take place between now and the end of the year. Again, nothing is concrete in terms of dates yet, but as far as what we're planning, we're trying to do something at Quinny's place at Pub Q in Minnesota. I don't know if you had a chance to meet her.
Oh, she's amazing. What a powerhouse.
Yeah. It was the coolest thing. I mean, again, file this under the category of things you'd never imagine happening. Since she's been hanging out and calling into our shows, it's so cool. She literally sends me pictures almost every week. People make a pilgrimage to her place, and they're for all the, not just my podcast, all the podcasts. And one day, and she does these little watch parties. So 2 Saturdays ago, she had 40 people there. And so when we were doing D-Class on Saturday night, we had a little inset on the screen. She had a live camera set up of everybody at the bar watching our podcast. And I'm sitting there looking at Joe. I'm like, this is the trippiest thing I've ever seen in my life. But she's incredible. And so I believe hopefully in June, we're going to try to do an event there. I think she's going to bring in a tent and a live band. I think the goal is to have, whoever we can get in the podcast community to come out, do kind of another, just a meet and greet, hang out, do some kind of live stream from there. It's kind of similar to what we did down there, have everybody up on stage. That would be June. I am actively working on planning let's call it Great Awakening at Sea, I believe is something along the lines of what the name will be. A cruise, kind of like Threadfest at sea. I hope to be in either late July or early August. So that would be a multi-night event. And then in December, second week of December, again, we're going to do the same event we did in Jupiter here, because it's the same weekend that they have the Christmas boat parade here. So we'll do something. And then at some point in between there, we want to get, Mickey has a great club up in Baltimore where it's set up it's wired to do podcasts and everything live. So we're hoping to just get a bunch of people to Baltimore. He's got something cool that I would love to do, which is he started doing this Wednesday night gathering, and believe it or not, he's got some liberal people that come in, and they're willing to talk. And so I said, you know what? How cool would it be to get up there? Let's do a live show. Let's get on stage. Let's see who shows up. I don't care if they're liberal. Let's have a conversation. Let's see how it goes. I think it would be fun. So I don't know exactly when that would be, but that's four things for sure that we're working on. Like I said, 3 of them, we kind of have ideas of the date. The one with Mickey, I'm not sure exactly when that'll be. But yeah, I realized it after we did the event in Jupiter, and it was it kind of like, the holidays come and you get tired, and things were a little hectic at the end of the year. I was a little fatigued and everything, but then I came back from this event this past week, and I'm like, no, all right, it's time to start getting serious about doing more of these things, because I just think they're so valuable for everyone to get together. So our goal is as many as we can, do by financially and by keeping our sanity. I'm down for it.
Awesome.
I love it. I love it. And for as far as Quinny's Pub, if for folks that are in the, let's get the exact, the town is, I just saw it for a second there. What's the name of the town, Dave? Do you know it?
You know what? I'm blanking on it.
Okay.
Right?
It's Mahtomedi. Matomedi? Is that how you say it? Minnesota? But I put the Quinny's Sports Pub.co in both chats on our show. So if people are in that area in Minnesota and they want a gathering place, hey, you guys, somewhere in the middle of the country, there's a place to go with a really, really cool owner.
Yep, exactly right. And she's the best. She's always there. And yeah, here it is. Actually, I'll put the website up on here for 1 second. Let me push this up. Bear with me, guys.
It's a good sized place too.
Yeah. My understanding is she's got the restaurant, and then what she's deemed as like Pub Q is kind of almost like a separate little space.
Right.
So here it is, QuinnySportsPub.com, and you can also go to /PubQ. And I guarantee if you go there, you'll have a good time. Yeah, that's the room right there where they did the watch party. So really nice place. Quinny is amazing. She emceed one of our Q&As. She is fantastic. Yeah, here's the address right here. 3140 North Century Ave North, Mahtomedi, Minnesota, 55110. QuinnySportsPub.com. So if you guys are interested in meeting some like-minded Anons, my understanding is pretty much any weekend you go there, you're going to find some of them there. So very
awesome.
Cool. I got 2 more things. How you guys doing on time? You guys all right?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I want to go back very quickly. I got 2 more kind of things in mind, but one of which is, Lance, before he took off, was talking about the scare event, and we obviously spent a lot of time talking about Israel. I want to run through just some stuff that happened today that I find interesting. I'd love to get your guys' take on it, because I think, Scott, I think you mentioned it. In Trump's capitulation tour, there's a few of those videos that went around, but there's one in particular that's got very ominous music, and it's going to every country, and it just says Israel submitted. I think it starts with Israel. Israel submitted. Saudi Arabia submitted. It goes through all those, and Trump himself has posted that a number of times. So I'm watching the tea leaves here, and again, I'm just speculating. Saving Israel for last. We have a lot of different things in the hopper right now that could, I think, be used to draw attention to past events. I'll give you some examples. Number one, you have Joe Kent is crossing over into 3 different narratives right now. He's talking about Israel pushing us into a war with Iran. He's actually talking about the fact that he would testify as in favor of the defense for Tyler Robinson, because he believes there was a foreign nexus involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He's also chirping. Yeah, he's also chirping about he's also chirping about Butler and a foreign nexus being involved there, right? So I believe any one of those, or probably all of those, would boomerang back to Israel. We know the whole Erica Kirk show that's going on. I believe Candace is serving a purpose there. I could see Erica Kirk being exposed as having orchestrated this thing via Israel. Like, so they've set up all these tripwires right now that I think any one of them could fall. And you know, it makes perfect sense, right? You take JFK, it's basically come out that the CIA and Mossad and such were connected to that. Has that changed the world? No. But you look at the Charlie Kirk thing, if that is emotionally raw for people right now gets blown back on Israel, that would have quite an impact. So I just have my eyes on all that kind of stuff, and I watch very carefully, as you guys know, with the comms and the words, and I think that we should keep our eyes out for some kind of false flag, or at least be aware that it's a possibility. Now, my take is it would be our presentation. That's just where my mind goes. You got, I'm a full control guy, but I thought it was interesting. I'm going back to, let's see, I'm going to go back to the State of the Union. I know the one thing, like I'm a big fan of comedy, and now I get to be friends with Mickey. He knows a lot of comedians, and he'll be the first one to tell you, like, the cool thing about a comedy club, especially when there's regulars, is they're all back there rooting for each other. And I feel like that's kind of the way it is with all of us. We're all here, wanting to support each other, help each other out. It's certainly not a competition. Like we're all here to just help each other. And that to me matters. It's super important.
Agreed. Just for folks that haven't seen our interview with Matt and Mickey, Dave, if you could just play just a couple minutes of this. This was gold, with Mickey and Matt talking about Mickey's height. I just sent it. It's a post on X. I don't know if Scott has seen this since, but I had to take this clip because I found it to be priceless. It led into him and Amy talking at the event, but it really shows Mickey's sense of humor and his self-deprecation. So please, if you could.
Watching a midget wrestling show on the other channel.
Yeah, I got it. By the way, you're really into these midgets, aren't you? You guys like midgets a lot.
Well, a lot of times they come up a bit short, but
do you know how tall Mick is?
Do you know
his actual height?
Do you know how
is he
tall
a BM? Are you a BM?
I don't know what BM means.
A borderline midget. It's 4'10".
No, okay, I just got over. I'm like 5'2", 5'3".
Shrinking every day, though.
I do a whole bit in my comedy thing about how unfair it is because, like, I would say like 5'6" and up, maybe 5'7", right in there. That's like regular guy height. You start to be accepted as a regular guy around 5'7".
Okay.
5'2", 5'3". I'm not really a midget. I'm not really like. I'm not like a dwarf. I don't know. Like, it sucks because I can't even start an app to find people like me. You know what I mean? Because there's no name for it.
It's hard to tell right now.
5'2", 5'3".
You're really 5'2"?
Yeah. I'm on a phone book right now. Remember phone book, kids?
Now I'm standing. Yeah, I'm 5'2", 5'3".
So when I call you a stand-up comic, it's hard to know.
And then it's like one heckle over the years that, like, soon as I first come out, somebody in the back will always yell, "Stand up!" And I'm like, "You son of a bitch!" But yeah, no, I did. It always drove me crazy. Like, I got no special title for my height.
How about Hobbit?
You're a hobbit.
I don't like Hobbit. I thought about it. Hobbit. I don't. Is that what a Hobbit is? Like my height?
You should run for governor.
Maybe I'm BM extra.
Maybe you're tall in that world.
You're a giant BM. That's not people. That could be very misconstrued and very awkward. But borderline midget is what the giant part is, the BM part. So.
I'll tell you a story, and you guys decide whether it's true or not.
Please.
Okay, here we go.
I was doing comedy, and it was in San Francisco, and this is years ago. And by the way, the Punchline in San Francisco was one of the greatest comedy clubs in the country, and I loved San Francisco when I went. It was a cool city, man. It really was. Anyway, I do comedy one night, and a couple people are there that work there said, "Hey, you want to go hang out with us afterwards?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." So we go out, and they take me to this place. They go, "You're going to love it in here. I'm telling you. They're going to love you." And I'm like, "Okay." So they go, "Go ahead. You go." So I open the door, and when you open this door, it opens like that, and like one person at a time can go through. So none of them come in. I walk. It was the whole bar with midgets. It was the whole bar. It was a midget bar. I'm not making it up, Joe. And I walked in, and I looked around, and I was like, "What? Where am I?" And for the first time in my life, I literally walked in a room as a grown-ass man full of people and went like this. I can beat anybody's ass in this place. Like, I was the man, right? And dude, I'm telling you the funniest thing. The little ladies, I was like a god. It was incredible because I'm not like a regular size guy, so I'm not like intimidating to them. But
Right.
I'm like a tall guy to a regular woman for the midget world, I think. I think that's what I was. I was just tall for midgets, not like giant. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I got to tell you, there's a woman named Amy who's watching our show, and she's going to be at Threadfest. Are you guys going to Threadfest?
Yeah, I am. Yes, we are. By the way, yes, March. March.
Okay. Well, she's going to be there, and she's about to pee herself right now watching this show. That's her comment. So,
that's awesome. Is she a midget?
No, she's regular height. I mean, I don't know what regular height would be.
Is she over 5'5"?
I believe so. Amy, what's your height? If you could post your height in the comments, please, that would be very.
I don't do well with women over like 5'6".
Well, we'll have an answer for you here real quickly. I'd say she's around 5'6", 5'7", maybe 5'8".
We're gonna introduce you to DeSantis's boat guy. Remember the memes? I mean,
she's 5'4". She is 5'4".
5'4". Perfect. I could give her a hug when I meet her.
A while, so that's why. We were in Ireland. We did a retreat over there, and she was great. She actually had me play. So I went to Ireland and I ended up playing in a couple of the bars over there in
Are you a singer-songwriter guy?
I mean, I'm a lute player. Yeah, singer-songwriter. I'll play at the end of the show. I'll play my video "Freedom Now" that Scott and I helped put together.
Is that your theme song, by the way? Is that you?
No, that's a song that Scott picked out.
We were trying to figure out who that was.
Yeah, someone thought I. Yeah, that's good. Watching him. He's such a good sport. I didn't know.
I'm actually pretty sure that when he got up on stage at Threadfest to do his comedy, that somebody in the back yelled, "Stand up!"
They did.
Oh yeah,
they did.
Oh,
my battery's dying. I gotta grab a cord. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, I think we're about to land the plane, but
where are we? Well, I got 10%, so we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, we're fine. We're fine. I think we can wrap it up here. This has been a great show, Dave. That was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me do one thing. I need to do one thing for Rumble here. Do you guys have your Rumble wallet thing activated on your channel?
We do. I was gonna send something to it just to see if it worked, but you have to send it from the wallet. You have to send it from your Rumble wallet. I think I don't think I could send it from an external wallet.
Yeah, it's starting to gain traction here. So they have this thing that they have asked us to read that I'm going to go ahead and read here for everybody. Here's a little inside scoop that many creators are talking about behind the scenes. It's actually one of the reasons that we use Rumble. They made a way to super chat creators so we get paid immediately and without any fees. YouTube and Twitch take 50% of fees when you tip creators. This method takes none. That's right. The platform takes 0 fees. We keep nearly 100% of what you send. You can super chat with Bitcoin, Tether USD, or even Tether Gold stablecoins. The tip show up directly on our Rumble chat, which we do our best to read. All you need to do is download the Rumble wallet on the App Store and send the tips to your favorite creators. You can go to wallet.rumble.com or you can download the app directly from the App Store. This is an amazing way to get rid of the middleman and help the creator economy. Big shout out to Rumble for making this disruptive technology possible. So guys, if you're watching on TrueStream or NewsTreason or wherever, I know a lot of people ask because the majority of people watch on replay and you can't do Rumble rants. So you'll see whether you're on TrueStream or over here on most channels now, there's a little button right below the video that says tip. If you're watching on replay, that's the way you can support your favorite creators and help everybody keep doing this. So gentlemen, you got any rants or any thank yous you want to do over on your side? I think I have a few over here. Let me just see.
Yeah, well, shout out to Matt Geiger from Verity Metals. I know he sponsors both of our shows, and it's a great place for people to learn about gold, silver.
Go ahead and give out your link, guys, please.
Oh, well, it's basically everything's under the link tree. So let me I think I sent that.
Put that up right here.
Yeah, it's all under there. That's the best place to go. It has everything there.
There it is. All right. Yeah. Let me come over here. Todd12, $2 rant. Thank you all for the work you do in our awakening. Much love and respect for all of you. Thank you, friend. Trump in at 17 with a $10 rant. My Israel for last thought is taking out the leadership and corruption. Who knows? Maybe Bibi gets rescued, air quotes, like Maduro, and goes to Valhalla with the rest of them. And at that time, the cleanup starts. Trump in it again said, I wish I could say more in one comment, but Israel for last is the finalization of cleaning up the deep state, because once that happens, the Vatican will crumble. Interesting. The Mr. Leota, good to see you, my friend. 4 of my favorite humans on the planet. Amazing cast. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. Ventiman over here with a $1 rant. Has Scott read or listened to the late Joseph Campbell?
Very much so, yes.
Okay.
Great stuff. Big fan.
Trump in at 17. Is Joe Rogan secretly a part of the 60,000 man army, a sleeper cell participant? I've been following Joe Rogan's narrative since I started my Telegram channel. So that was what, 2021. I don't know if he's actual 60 man, but whoever is feeding his narrative is. No one's ever going to get me off that horse. No way.
Great.
I think whatever they have done with him is one of the most brilliant aspects of this, where he has taken his audience from like 2020, where he was, I don't want to say borderline TDS, but didn't like Trump at all. And he's just taken 20 million people and just navigated them straight through to the side of normalcy. Whoever came up with that, it's been brilliant. I believe that's it over here. Hold on. Trump in at 17. So the UFO trio, the newest occupants in Valhalla, asking for a friend. Oh, you mean those guys on the screen with Jesse Waters? Probably. Probably. Trump in at 17. So damn funny. Joe referring to Mickey as a BM. The first thing I thought of was Mickey is a little shit. LOL. Please pass this on to him and tell him for me to stand up. I have to screen cap that. I will text that to him literally right now. You guys are killing us tonight. Thank you for that. And then last but certainly not least, Denise Volbrack, $10 rent. Great show, gentlemen. Had a wonderful time with you all. Great to see you in real life. Thank you so much, Denise. Let me just check pilled.net over here and just see if there's anybody I need to thank. If I can get this thing to load. Here we go. Sean Joe gifted the cookie twice. Thank you, friend. Magadai gifted the shades. Thank you very much. No thanks, Joe gifted a cookie. Thanks for the introductions to the others to keep broadening my knowledge and possibilities. Great conversation, and God bless you all. Stay safe. Thank you, my friend. And one of my favorite usernames, Thong Chaser, gifted the can. Great show tonight, as always. Thank you. And yeah, guys, there is the link tree right there for TrueStream. If you want to get a hold of Matt Geiger over at Verity Metals or any of the information for the boys here, please go over and give them a follow. I know it's been far too long since we've gotten together to do this. So if you guys are watching over here on the NewsTreason side, please head over there. Give them a follow on Rumble. As I said, it's one of my, when you are looking to, especially when you're looking to escape a lot of the narrative discussion that we do here day in and day out, and you're looking to really broaden your horizons, I don't think there's a better channel out there than TrueStream for that. And gentlemen, I guess we'll go down the line. Any kind of thank yous, final thoughts, anything you want to promote? Start with Scott.
Well, thanks to you guys, especially Patrick Gunnels, for putting on such a fabulous event. I feel completely invigorated, as I said before. What a great time it was. It's great that Denise commented. God, she's hilarious. How much fun was she to hang out with? And yeah, I can't wait for the next one. And can't wait for the next show we do together. Hopefully sooner than later.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah,
Joe?
no, it's been awesome. It's so great that Lance was able to come on and people are not familiar with Lance Shuttler. Like I said, he's been on with Laura Logan. He's on LT show all the time. Just a great human being. And it's an honor to do this work. And
one last plug for the Awakening Summit in New York. Hopefully we can meet more people there and give more hugs and have many more memories, because there's nothing like going to an event in person. And I can't wait to see what unfolds for the rest of 2026 at Quinny's Pub and the possible cruise and everything else. And so, that's kind of it for now. It's just I'm just thankful to be friends with you guys and to meet all the folks in person. So it's amazing.
Yeah, I have to echo that, guys. It's been an honor to know you. Like I said, we haven't done this enough, and that will certainly be changing going forward. But I just again want to thank you guys for everything you've done for me in my journey over these years. You're a big part of the reason that I even sit here and we even got to hang out in that same place in Dallas last weekend. And I just want to thank you guys for being incredible ambassadors to the movement. I was so happy that you guys were able to be there, and I can't wait to do it again with you guys. Lots more times. Many good things to come. I know a lot of you guys have sent in comments. That you're always disappointed when you can't get to one of these events. That's part of what we're all trying to work on here, is to come up with more events like this. Certainly make them as financially affordable as we can, and be able to bring the same type of experience that we all had to as many people within the movement as possible. And Joe and Scott are as big a part of that as anybody. So gentlemen, thank you so much for the incredible conversation. Thank you all for tuning in. Please, wherever you're watching, hit that positive affirmation button, thumbs up button on Rumble, heart button on X, red pill on Pilled, whatever it may be. We greatly appreciate that. I want to thank Carrie Cat, Claudia, Doug, and Magadai 1776 for moderating over here. And we will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, of course, with the Friday night call-in show, Open Lines. Joe Rambo will be joining us, as well as Space Shot. So I am looking forward to that. And that is going to do it for us, guys. So good seeing you, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
That song's from my old one-eyed father. Came back from the service with one eye. He never complained about it my whole life. And all the stuff I do for the great, mighty USO, and all the good work they do for our fantastic military, it's all in dedication to my father. I like this.
That's treason. That's treason. They say, holy shit, they caught us. They caught us.
What store, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Temptation.